So this is the part two of Prelims Booster Current Affairs Must Know Hot Topics for Prelims 2023. Let's start with the topics. Okay. Central Drug Standard Control Organization (CDSCO) has barred the Haryana-based Maiden Pharmaceuticals Limited from manufacturing medicinal drugs due to accusation of cough syrup-led death of children in Gambia. The DEG is a chemical that is used as a solvent for industrial purposes but not for pharmaceutical purposes. That is diethylene glycol. It's an organic compound. Okay. It is a colorless, practically odorless, and hygroscopic liquid with a sweetish taste. And in the manufacture of drugs, propylene glycol is to be used as a solvent, not the diethylene glycol. Drug regulatory system in India. As per the seventh schedule of the Indian Constitution, drugs fall under the current concurrent list, while the health is a state subject. So you should know this important differentiation. So the seventh schedule of the Indian Constitution has three lists, that is state list, concurrent list, and union list. So this drugs fall under concurrent list while the health is a state subject. The Indian drug regulatory system originated from the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Rules 1945. It regulates the import, manufacture, distribution, and sale of drugs and cosmetics. The primary object of the Act is to ensure that drugs and cosmetics sold in India are safe, effective, and conform to state quality standards. The 1940 Act and its corresponding rules allow the center and state to regulate different aspects of the drugs ecosystem. Main functions of the central government are approval of new drugs, regulation of imported drugs, approval for clinical trials, standards or for drug, cosmetics, diagnostics and devices, and coordinating activities of the states. So because the constitution provides different scopes for drugs in concurrent list and health as a state subject, the functions of central government when compared to the state governments pertaining to these two topics could be a question. Okay. Main functions of the state governments are licensing of manufacturing establishments and sale premises, inspections of such premises, drawing samples for testing and monitoring of quality of drugs, surveillance over sale of spurious and adulterated drugs. So these are the main functions of state governments. Okay. Major bodies regulating drugs and the pharmaceutical in India are Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Under this one, there are Directorate General of Health Services, Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR), and Central Drugs Standard Control Organization (CDSCO), headed by Drug Controller General of India (DCGI), statutory committees, advisory committees, and state licensing authorities, all under the Ministry of Family and Health and Family Welfare. Under the Ministry of Chemical Fertilizers, there is Department of Pharmaceuticals, okay, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority (NPPA), Drugs Prices Control Order (DPCO) 2013, okay. Under the Ministry of Commerce, there is Patent Office and Controller General of that patent. Under the Ministry of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology and Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) laboratories, okay. And under the Ministry of Environment, it is Environmental Clearance for Manufacturing. So let's see what is CDRI, that is Central Drug Research Institute, comes under CSIR, that is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, which comes under the Ministry of Science and Technology. You can see here, okay. The 1940 Act also provides for the statutory bodies for various functions. Drugs Technical Advisory Board. The term itself is defining in nature. Drugs Consultative Committee, Central Drugs Laboratories. Okay, the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization comes under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So the CDSCO under Directorate General of Health Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, is the National Regulatory Authority of India, headed by Drug Controller General of India, headquarters in New Delhi. The CDSCO is not a statutory body, but state regulatory authorities are statutory bodies. Okay. Under the Drugs and Cosmetics Acts, CDSCO is responsible for approval of drugs, approval to conduct clinical trials, laying down the standards for drugs, control over the quality of imported drugs in the country, and coordination of the activities of state drug control organizations. The CDSCO, along with state regulators, is jointly responsible for grant of licenses of certain specialized categories of critical drugs such as blood and blood products, IV fluids, vaccines, and sera. The biological products or biologics are medical products. Many biologics are made from a variety of natural sources like human, animal, or microorganism. Let's see about Drug Controller General of India. The DGCI is the head of the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. The main responsible of the Drug Controller General of India include granting the approvals for the import, manufacture, and sale of drugs and medical devices in India, setting standards for the quality, safety, and efficacy of drugs and medical devices, monitoring and inspecting manufacturing facilities to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements, investigating and taking action against violations of regulatory standards, collaborating with international regulatory bodies to ensure that Indian drugs and medical devices meet global standards. So these are the functions of DGCI. One should remember could be asked as a fact-based questions in prelims examination. So moving forward, CDSCO is the organization responsible for regulating the drug and medical device industry in India, while the DCGI is the head of the CDSCO and responsible for overseeing its functions, implementing regulations, and granting approvals for new drugs and medical devices. eStart India is one-stop solution for getting import licensing and necessary approval from the CDSO department. National List of Essential Medicine NLEM. The essential medicine is a list released by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The medicines listed in the NLEM are sold below a price ceiling fixed by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority NPPA. Okay. The list is released by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, whereas the price ceiling is fixed by NPPA. That you should remember. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare prepared and released the first essential medicine of list of India in 1996, consisting of 279 medicines. This list was subsequently revised in 2003, 2011, 2015, and 2022. Presently, there are 384 drugs in this national list of essential medicines. In India, it was framed on the lines of Essential Medicines List (EML) released by WHO. The NLEM is created by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Then it goes to Ministry of Chemicals, which puts it in Schedule 1 of the Drug Price Control Order. Drug Price Control Order is released under Essential Commodities Act. Prices of Schedule 1 drugs of the Drug Price Control Order are regulated by the NPPA, that is pricing mechanism. All medicines under the NLEM are under the price regulation. The Health Ministry prepares a list of drugs eligible for price regulation, following which the Department of Pharmaceuticals incorporates them into Schedule 1 of the DPCO. Then the NPPA then fixes the prices of drugs in this schedule. The medicines listed in the NLEM are sold below a price ceiling fixed by the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. Price rise for scheduled drugs is linked to the wholesale price index based inflation. For non-scheduled drugs, companies can hike prices up to 10% every year. Scheduled drugs roughly constitute 7 to 18% of the estimated rupees 1.6 trillion domestic pharma market. Around 376 drugs are under the price control. The ceiling price is calculated on the basis of a simple average of the market prices of different brands of medicine. It is done for the medicines that have at least 1% share in the total market. Companies floating the price cap are penalized. Prices of scheduled drugs are linked with the wholesale price market index. That is also an important fact you have to remember. While prices of the non-scheduled drugs can hike annually 10 to 15% also. You can see the total National List of Essential Medicines in 2011, 348, then 376, now it is 384. The following criteria are followed for inclusion in the National List of Essential Medicines. 1. Be useful in diseases which is a public health problem in India. Be licensed and or approved from the Drugs Controller General of India. Have proven efficacy and safety profile based on scientific evidence and be comparatively cost effective. Be aligned with current treatment guidelines recommended under the National Health Programs of India. Example, ivermectin, part of the Accelerated Plan for Elimination of Lymphatic Filariasis 2018. 7. When more than one medicine are available from the same therapeutic class, one prototype medically best suited medicine for of the class to be included. Price of the total treatment is considered and not the unit price of a medicine. Fixed dose combinations are usually not included. Vaccines as and when are included in the Universal Immunization Program. Example, rotavirus vaccine. WHO model list of essential medicines. This is as per WHO, essential medicines are those which satisfies the priority healthcare needs of population. The current version updated in the 2021 is 22nd essential medicines list and 8th essential medicines list for children. List is updated every 2 years by expert committee on selection and use of essential medicine. Essential Commodities Act 1955. It was enacted to prevent hoarding and black marketing of foodstuffs at a time when the country was facing a scarcity of food grains. Essential commodity. There is no specific definition of essential commodities in the Act. Section 2A of the Act states that an essential commodity means a commodity specified in the schedule of the Act. The Act gives powers to the central government to add or remove a commodity in the schedule. The center, if it is satisfied that it is necessary to do so in the public interest, can notify an item as essential in consultation with state governments. At present, there are 7 commodities scheduled under the Essential Commodity Act 1955 as essential. They are 1. Drugs, 2. Fertilizers, 3. Whether foodstuffs, fertilizers, whether inorganic or organic or mixed, foodstuffs including edible oilseeds and oils, hang yam made wholly from cotton, petroleum and petroleum products, raw jute and jute textile. And in the seventh one, seeds of food crops and seeds of fruits and vegetables, seeds of cattle fodder, jute seeds, cotton seed. In the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak, masks and sanitizers also became listed under the Essential Commodity Act. Regulation of medical devices. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare notified the Medical Device Rules 2017. It enabled regulation of few medical devices as drugs by the CDSCO. It made licensing application process online. The Medical Devices Amendment Rules 2020 brings all devices used for medical application under the purview of Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. This will make all devices to be termed as drugs. Thus, all devices need to be registered and approved on the online CDSCO portal. The country's drug regulator, CDSCO, will enforce standards to ensure the safety and effectiveness of these medical devices while pricing. The regulator NPPA will monitor the prices. Let's see what is DART mission. DART mission is Double Asteroid Redirection Test Mission. It is by NASA. Asteroid targeted is Dimorphos. Objective is change the orbit by crushing an impactor into asteroid. Asteroid is the asteroid from the asteroid belt. Is a torus-shaped region in the solar system located roughly between the orbits of the planets Jupiter and Mars. It contains a great many solid, irregularly shaped bodies of many sizes, but much smaller than planets, called asteroids or minor planets. This asteroid belt is also called the main asteroid belt or the main belt to distinguish it from the other asteroid population in the solar system, such as near-Earth asteroids and Trojan asteroids. Meteoroid, a small particle from a comet or asteroid orbiting the Sun, is called as meteoroid. Meteor, the light phenomena which results when a meteoroid enters the Earth's atmosphere and vaporizes. A shooting star. Meteorite, a meteoroid that survives its passage through the Earth's atmosphere and lands upon the Earth's surface is called as meteorite. Oprite. Recently, a rare obrite meteor crashed in Gujarat. Obrites are coarse-grained igneous rocks that formed in oxygen-poor conditions and thus contain a variety of exotic minerals that are not found on Earth. So one should remember that obrites are basically coarse-grained igneous rocks, and especially they are formed in the oxygen-poor conditions. Asteroids are not called planets. Why so? Any rocky body must satisfy following criteria to be called as planet. As per the International Astronomical Union 1914 criteria is it must orbit the Sun. It should be massive enough to acquire an approximately spherical shape. It has to clear its orbit, that is, be the object that averts maximum gravitational pull within orbit. Pluto removed from the planets list because Pluto meets only two of the three criteria above. By the third criteria, it fails to become a full planet. Despite standing there for billions of years, it has not succeeded in clearing its surroundings from the objects. Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt, a donut-shaped region of icy bodies beyond the orbit of Neptune. There may be millions of these icy objects, collectively referred to as Kuiper Belt objects (KBOs) or trans-Neptunian objects (TNOs) in this distant region of our solar system. Planets with rings are Neptune, Saturn, and Uranus. Let's see the Trojan asteroid. Asteroid orbiting with larger planet. Trojans can share the orbits of planets or of large moons. Hayabusa 2 spacecraft by Japan's JAXA sent to Ryugu asteroid. Aim is to return with asteroid sample completed successfully. NISAR. Full form of the NISAR is NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar. So NASA and ISRO are collaborating on developing an SUV-sized satellite called NISAR. It is expected to be launched in January 2024 from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh, into a near-polar orbit. Function: it will scan the globe every 12 days over the course of its 3-year mission of imaging the Earth's land, ice sheets, and sea ice to give an unprecedented view of the planet. Role of NASA will be to provide one of the radars for the satellite, L-band, a high-rate communication subsystem for science data, GPS receivers, and a payload data subsystem. NISAR will be equipped with the largest reflector antenna ever launched by NASA. Role of ISRO will be to provide the spacecraft bus, the second type of radar, the S-band radar, the launch vehicle, and associated launch services. Primary goals of NISAR are tracking the subtle changes in the Earth's surface, spotting warning signs of imminent volcanic eruptions, helping to monitor groundwater supplies, and tracking the rate at which ice sheets are melting. Let's see what is synthetic aperture radar. So, synthetic aperture radar (SAR) is a type of radar system that uses radio waves to create high-resolution images of the Earth's surface. It works by transmitting a series of radio waves towards the ground and then receiving the reflected waves that bounce back. By analyzing the timing and frequency of these waves, the synthetic aperture radar can generate a detailed image of the terrain. One of the advantages of the SAR is that it can operate regardless of weather conditions or the time of day. The frequency range of radio waves is typically defined as being between 3 kilohertz and 300 gigahertz. Radio telescope. Radio telescope is a specialized antenna and radio receiver used to detect radio waves from the astronomical radio sources in the sky. Some important radio telescopes are Giant Metro Meter Wave Radio Telescope GMRT present in Pune, India, 500-meter Aperture Spherical Telescope FAST in Guizhou, China, and Tianyang or Sky Eye in China. These are three examples of radio telescopes. Radio telescopes are better than optical telescopes in several ways. Radio waves can pass through dust and gas clouds, allowing radio telescopes to see through regions of the universe that are obscured to optical telescopes. 2. Radio waves are not affected by atmospheric turbulence or light pollution, which can limit the performance of optical telescopes. 3. Radio telescopes can detect emission from cool objects that emit little or no visible light, such as gas and dust in the interstellar medium or black holes. Radio telescopes can study the structure of galaxies and the distribution of dark matter, which are difficult or impossible to study with optical telescopes. 5. Radio telescopes can observe the universe at any time of day or night and in any weather condition, making them more flexible than the optical telescopes. Radio waves. Radio waves are a type of electromagnetic radiation with a wavelength longer than infrared light, ranging from about 1 millimeter to tens of meters. They are produced by oscillating electric and magnetic fields and are used for communication, navigation, and scientific research. Radio waves are commonly used for wireless communication, including radio and television broadcasting, cell phone communication, Wi-Fi, and satellite communication. They are also used for radar, which uses radio waves to detect and locate objects such as aircraft, ships, and weather patterns. In scientific research, radio waves are used in radio astronomy to study the universe. Radio telescopes detect and analyze the faint signals emitted by the celestial objects such as stars, galaxies, and quasars in the form of radio waves. Radio waves are also used in medical imaging such as magnetic resonance imaging MRI, which uses radio waves to create detailed images of the body's internal structure. Types of orbits. High Earth orbit. A geocentric orbit with an altitude entirely above that of a geosynchronous orbit is called as geo high Earth orbit. Okay, majorly used for communication satellites. Low Earth orbits. Low Earth orbits are relatively closer to the Earth's surface at the altitude of roughly 160 km to 1000 kilometers. It is used for satellite imaging or remote sensing. The International Space Station is placed in the low Earth orbit. Majorly, the Earth observing satellites are placed in the low Earth orbit only. Medium Earth orbit. Its altitude is between the low Earth orbit and the GEO. That is geosynchronous orbit, also known as intermediate circular orbit, altitude around 20,000 km. High Earth orbit includes geosynchronous orbit. It is an Earth-centered orbit with an orbital period that matches the rotation of the Earth. The time taken by the satellite to revolve around the Earth is equal to the time taken by the Earth to revolve around itself, that is 24 hours. Satellites in geosynchronous orbit will stay in the same location by longitude but may drift to north and south. One of the special types of geosynchronous orbit is geostationary orbit. Geostationary orbit. In geostationary orbit, the satellite is placed over the equator of the Earth at an altitude of 35,786 km. It is a type of geosynchronous orbit. Satellites in the geostationary orbit revolve around the Earth at the same rate as the Earth's rotation. That is taking 24 hours for one round. This makes satellites in GEO appear to be stationary over a fixed position when viewed by an observer from Earth. It rotates from west to east, similar to the Earth. Geostationary transfer orbit, that is GTO, the launchers do not place a satellite directly into GEO. Instead, it is first placed in a highly elliptical GTO and then transferred to the GEO. Low Earth orbits includes polar orbits, travels past Earth from north to south instead of west to east. These pass roughly over the Earth's poles. Sun synchronous orbit. The sun synchronous orbit is a type of polar orbit that remains synchronized with the sun. That is, the position is fixed relative to the sun. The sun synchronous orbits satellites always visit the same spot at the same local time as they are sun synchronous. International Space Station ISS. It is a modular space station. International Space Station. It is a modular space station, habitable artificial satellite in the low Earth orbit. International Space Station is a multinational programmer between five space agencies: NASA from USA, Roscosmos from Russia, JAXA Japan, ESA that is Europe, and Canada CSA. The station serves as a microgravity and space environment research laboratory in which scientific research is conducted in astrobiology, astronomy, meteorology, physics, and other fields. The ISS is for suited for testing the spacecraft systems and equipment required for possible future long duration missions to the moon and Mars. It is the largest artificial object in the space and regularly visible to the naked eye from Earth's surface. The International Space Station circles the Earth in roughly 93 minutes, completing 15.5 orbits per day. SPADEX, that is Space Docking Experiment. ISRO is working on Space Docking Experiment, SPADEX, to provide in-orbit servicing, a technology that is crucial for making the space station functional. This project will develop and demonstrate the technologies needed for docking two spacecraft, that is Chaser and Target, and to control one spacecraft from the attitude control system of other spacecraft in the docked condition. Space docking is a technology that allows transferring humans, fuel, and equipment from one spacecraft to another. It is aiming for launch in third quarter of 2024. This technology will be a forerunner to future planetary missions, including crew transfer, international participation, etc. India Space Station. India is planning to launch its own space station by 2030, joining the league of US, Russia, and China to an elite space club. The Indian space station will be much smaller, mass of 20 tons, than the International Space Station and will be used for carrying out microgravity experiments, not for space tourism. It will orbit Earth at an altitude of around 400 kilometers. Preliminary plan for the space station is to accommodate astronauts for up to 20 days in space, and the project will be an extension of the Gaganyaan mission. So basically, the India's space station will be the extension of Gaganyaan mission. China's Tiangong space station. China's strategically significant space station project entered the final phase as three astronauts entered the orbiting module of the Tiangong space station. The Tiangong space station is a Chinese space station being built in low Earth orbit between 340 and 450 kilometers above the Earth. China is going to operationalize its new Tiangong multi-module space station for at least 10 years. China is only the third country in history to have put both astronauts into space and to build a space station after Russia and the US. Let's see about the nuclear topics. Radiation pill. Potassium iodide is being used in a radiation pill. They contain non-radioactive iodine and can help block absorption and subsequent concentration of radioactive iodine in a thyroid gland. So basically, they use non-radioactive iodine. Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Recently, Russian forces seized the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. It is located on the banks of Dnieper River, 200 kilometers from the conflicted Donbas region. Let's see the nuclear power plants in Ukraine. One is Zaporizhia, other is Khmelnytskyi and Rivno, and one in South Ukraine. Indian nuclear power context. 20 new nuclear reactor by 2030, giving 15,000 megawatts of energy. Existing nuclear reactors in India are Kakrapar in Gujarat, Gorakhpur, Haryana, first in the North India, Kaiga in Karnataka, Chutka in Madhya Pradesh, Mahi Banswara in Rajasthan, Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu, prototype of fast breeder reactor, Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu. Small modulator reactors. Small modulator reactors, SMRs, are advanced nuclear reactors that have a power capacity of up to 300 megawatts per unit, which is about one third of the generating capacity of traditional nuclear power reactors. Microreactors. Microreactors are smaller modular nuclear power plants that have a capacity of fewer than 10 megawatts. Ways of nuclear energy generation in by two methods. One is by fission and the other is in fusion. So in fission, according to Einstein's formula, E is equal to mc square is applied here. Mass is converted to energy. Okay. And in fusion, it happens at higher temperature, especially in sun and the stars. So you can see the example here about the nuclear fusion. Let's see ITER. ITER is International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor located in France. It aims to build the world's largest tokamak to prove the feasibility of fusion as a large-scale and carbon-free source of energy. India is part of this ITER project. K-Star, artificial sun of the Korea. It is a superconducting fusion device known as Korea Superconducting Tokamak Advanced Research K-Star. K-Star is built to recreate the sun's fusion reactions on Earth. The K-Star Research Center at the Korea Institute of Fusion Energy (KFE) succeeded in the continuous operation of plasma for 20 seconds with an ion temperature higher than 100 million degrees Celsius. The duration is a new world record. These are the features of K-Star, that is artificial sun of Korea. Let's see about uranium. It is a naturally occurring radioactive material. It is not a rare element. It is more abundant than gold, silver, or mercury. World's largest uranium reserves are Australia, 28% of the world's uranium, Kazakhstan, 15% of the world uranium, and Canada, 9%, Russia, 8%, and Namibia, 7%. World's largest uranium mining is present in Kazakhstan, 45% of the world supply. So uranium reserves First is Australia, second is Kazakhstan, whereas is uranium mining, first is Kazakhstan, second is Namibia, and third is Canada. Uranium Corporation of India Limited UCIL, centrally owned public sector unit under Department of Atomic Energy responsible for uranium mining and processing, founded in 1967. The uranium mining projects in India, Jadugora, Bhatin, Narva Pahar, Turamidi, Bandurang in Jharkhand, headquartered Singhabrum, NPCIL. The Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL, is an Indian public sector undertaking based in Mumbai, Maharashtra. It is wholly owned by the Government of India and is responsible for the generation of electricity from nuclear power. NPCIL is administered by the Department of Atomic Energy under PMO. It is a three-phased program: one PHWR, two FBR, and three is TBR. We'll see these three in detail in further slides. Structure of the nuclear reactors. You just should remember the basic parts. Core contains all the nuclear fuel, that is uranium. Coolant, it transfers heat from fuel to turbine. Turbine transfers the heat energy from coolant to electricity. Moderator, material in core which slows down the neutrons released from the fission so as to cause more fission. Usually water, but maybe heavy water, DTO, or graphite can also be used as a moderator. Control rods, made with neutron absorbing material such as cadmium, HF, boron, are inserted or withdrawn from the core to control the rate of reaction. So boron, cadmium, silver, and HF is hafnium or indium. Deuterium is a stable isotope of hydrogen and heavy water, contains two atoms of deuterium and one atom of oxygen. This is also known as deuterium oxide. Deuterium is double the mass of hydrogen due to the presence of an extra neutron in its nucleus. Heavy Water Board. Heavy Water Board, a constraint unit of industries and mineral sector under the Department of Atomic Energy, carries the mandate of supporting the three-stage Indian nuclear power program by production of heavy water, that is deuterium oxide, and specialty materials like enriched boron, nuclear grade sodium, nuclear solvents for front end and back end fuel cycle, etc. PHWR. So basically PHWR is pressurized heavy water reaction. It uses heavy water as its coolant and neutron moderator. So fuel used is uranium 235 or uranium 238. Basically uranium 235 mostly. Enrichment of uranium 235 process in which the percentage composition of uranium 235 has been increased through process of centrifugation. US imposed sanctions against Iran in response to nuclear program, that is blocked facilities for enrichment process. Reactors. One is pressurized heavy water reactor. Fuel for the first stage is U-235. Fast breeder. Fuel for the second stage is Pu-239. Thorium-based reactors. Fuel for the third stage is U-233. Thorium. Source: monazite. Monazite is a primarily reddish-brown phosphate mineral that contains rare earth elements. India has highest reserve. Andhra Pradesh has highest, then followed by Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Kerala. Thorium, best fuel for the nuclear energy because less harmful mining, less half-life, that is disintegrates fast. Weapon generation from thorium difficult. Thorium-based power plants generating less waste. India has one of the largest reserves of thorium, source being monazite. Let's see about monazite. Monazite is a reddish-brown phosphate mineral and one of the beach sand minerals that contain rare earth elements like lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, etc. Monazite usually occurs in small, isolated crystals or grains that are resistant to weathering, and become concentrated in soils. So, monazite usually occurs in small isolated crystals or grains that are resistant to weathering and become concentrated in soils. It is an important ore of thorium and hence is radioactive. Thorium is used in third state of India's nuclear power program. Distribution of monazite. Globally, the largest deposits of monazite sands were found in India, Madagascar, and South Africa. In India, as per AMD, 13 million tons in situ monazite containing 55 to 60% total rare earth elements oxide resource occurring in 1. The coastal beach placer sands in parts of the Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Gujarat, and in the inland placers in parts of Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Tamil Nadu. Regulation of monazite soil in India. Monazite soil contains thorium, which is a prescribed substance to be handled by the Department of Atomic Energy. Comes under the Atomic Energy Radiation Protection Rules 2004. Indian Rare Earths Limited, IRL, is the only body permitted to produce and process monazite and regulate domestic use and export. Monazite is defined as a prescribed substance under the Atomic Energy Act. Under the law, a license is required for its export. Fission reactors. Fission reactors, 1. Research reactors. 1. Apsara, with the help of UK set up at BARC Mumbai, upgraded as Apsara U. 2 is Dhruva, 100 megawatt. India's largest research reactor is Dhruva, largest source for weapon grade plutonium. 3 is Cyrus, Canadian Indian Reactor Uranium System, Cyrus. 4th is Kamini, that is Kalpakkam Mini Reactor. 5th is PFBR, Prototype Fast Breeder Reactor in Kalpakkam itself, developed by Bhavini. India is currently first stage, entering into second stage. First being PFBR Kalpakkam by Bhavini, that is Bharatiya Nabhikya Vidyut Nigam Limited. Atomic Energy Regulation Board AERB, located in Mumbai, gives power under the Atomic Energy Act 1962 by President of India, regulates use of radioactive elements for medical purpose. The Rupur nuclear power plant by India plus Russia in Bangladesh. Russia's first floating nuclear plant, Academic Luminozo, NPCIL, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, under the Department of Atomic Energy, responsible for all nuclear reactors in India. Nuclear Command Authority. The Nuclear Command Authority has two components. One, political council headed by PM, and other is executive council headed by NSA. So this NSA, the executive council headed by NSA advises the political council headed by PM, responsible or command control and operational decisions regarding India's nuclear weapon program. Decision of both political council and executive council is implemented by SFC, that is Strategic Force Command. Nuclear Recycle Board, set up to carry out expansion program for reprocessing of spent fuel from nuclear power reactors and develop a nuclear waste management in the country. Operates under BARC Safety Council. Groundwater Yearbook that of 2021-2022 was released on the state of groundwater released by the Central Groundwater Board. 12 states have uranium above limits, that is more than 30 parts per thousand. Reasons: overexploitation of the groundwater, extreme bicarbonate level, solution reverse osmosis. Atomic Energy Commission, under the direct charge of the Prime Minister, under the Department of Atomic Energy. It functions to promote nuclear research, to undertake prospecting of atomic minerals in Indian, to extract such minerals, to organize research in atomic science in the laboratory. Has 5 research centers in India. Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC in Mumbai, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, IGCAR, Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu. Raja Ramanna Center for Advanced Technology, RRCAT, Indore. Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, VECC, Kolkata. Atomic Mineral Directorate for Exploration and Research, AMD, Hyderabad. So all these are basically research centers of Atomic Energy Commission. PSUs under the Department of Atomic Energy are Electronics Corporation of India Limited, also generate the EVMs in Hyderabad. To Indian Rare Earth Limited, IRL, Mumbai. Uranium Corporation of India Limited in Singham. NPCIL and Bhavini in Kalpakkam. Let's see flavonoids. Flavonoids are phytonutrients present in fruits and vegetables. Features of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory are present in flavonoids. They protect from heart, liver, and kidney diseases. Agarkar Research Institute artificially synthesized it, that is flavonoids. Vitamins. Vitamins A, C, E are antioxidants. Fat soluble are A, D, E, F. Water soluble are B and C. All the types of vitamin B. Solid state batteries, solid electrodes and solid electrolyte instead of liquid polymer gel. Advantages of the solid state batteries are high thermal stability, less self discharge, high energy density, high capacity, more charging cycle. National Mission on Transformative Mobility and Battery Storage. The aim is to promote clean, connected, and shared sustainable mobility initiative. A phased manufacturing program of EV components and batteries from 2019 to 2024. Lithium. Lithium is a chemical element with the symbol Li and atomic number 3. It is a soft, silvery white alkali metal. Like all alkali metals, lithium is highly reactive and flammable. It never occurs freely in nature due to its high reactivity. Used Uses of lithium. Industrial applications include heat-resistant glass and ceramics, flux additives for iron, steel, and aluminum production, lithium batteries, and lithium-ion batteries. Lithium is also present in biological systems in trace amounts, and lithium salts have proven to be useful as a mood-stabilizing drug in the treatment of bipolar disorder in humans. Lithium reserves. Bolivia is home to the world's biggest lithium reserves, one-third of the lithium triangle in South America, which also comprises second and third places, that is Argentina and Chile. India currently imports all its lithium needs, but recent surveys of the Atomic Minerals Directorate for Exploration and Research have shown the presence of lithium resources in Mandya district of Karnataka. Semiconductors. Semiconductors are materials which have a conductivity between conductors, generally metals, and non-conductors or insulators such as most ceramics. Semiconductors can be pure elements such as silicon or germanium, or compounds such as gallium arsenide or cadmium cyanide. India do not have experience of semiconductor formation. Design Linked Incentive, that is DLI scheme. It is announced by MIT. Financial incentives and design infrastructure support will be extended to domestic companies, startups, and MSMEs across various stages of development and deployment of semiconductor design for integrated circuits, ICs, chipsets, system on chips, COSCs, SoC systems, and IB cores, and semiconductor linked design for over a period of 5 years. The CDAC, that is Center for Development of Advanced Computing, a scientific society operating under MIT, will serve as the nodal agency for implementation of DLIC scheme. DAC is a Center for Development of Advanced Computing under MIT, set up in 1988, build supercomputers and carry research and development in the IT and electronics. National Supercomputing Mission, initiative of Ministry of Science and Technology headed by IIS, plus also the initiative of Ministry of Electronics and IT headed by CDAC, trying to build create cluster of 70 supercomputers connecting various academic and research institutions across India. Param Shivai, developed by CDAC in BHU 2019. Param Praviga, developed by IIS. Three phases: assembling supercomputers in India, manufacturing supercomputers in India, and designing supercomputers in India. Superconductor. The superconductors are materials that conduct electricity with no resistance. Unlike the more familiar conductors such as copper or steel, the superconductor can carry a current indefinitely without losing any energy. They also have several other very important properties, such as the fact that no magnetic field can exist within a superconductor. Critical temperature. The critical temperature for superconductors is the temperature at which the electrical resistivity of metal drops to zero. The transition is so sudden and complete that it appears to be a transition to a different phase of matter. This superconducting phase is described by the BCS theory. Tundra Satellite System. Early warning system against any incoming attack. Constellation of satellite was launched, developed by Russia. Airborne Early Warning and Control System, developed by DRDO. Six new such systems are planned or in development, will function as eye in the sky Netra, purpose for tracking enemy aircraft, detects hostile missiles, also the movement of troops. That is Airborne Early Warning and Control System developed by DRDO. Falcon Airborne Early Warning and Control System bought by India by Israel. Patriot defense system, ballistic missile defense system for US and its allies. S-400 system developed by Russia. India is planning to buy S-400 system from Russia. Anti-ballistic missile defense system, Ashwin. Defense India under 15 to 30 kilometers of endospheres. Prithvi defends India under 50 to 80 kilometers of exosphere. Iron Dome system of Israel is an example of anti-ballistic missile defense system, and THAAD system of USA is also anti-ballistic missile defense system example. Ballistic missile that follows the ballistic trajectory. Trajectory decided by initial velocity, effects of gravity, air resistance, and motion of the Earth also. Agni, prime missile, ballistic missile, a nuclear missile, range 1000 to 2000 kilometers, a canister-based solid propellant missile, launches very fast, great accuracy and maneuvering. IGMDP, Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. It was conceived by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam to enable India attain self-sufficiency in the field of missile technology. The five missiles, abbreviated as Patna, developed under this program are Prithvi, short-range surface-to-surface ballistic missile; Agni, ballistic missiles with different ranges, that is Agni 1, 2, 3, 4, 5; Trishul, short-range, low-level surface-to-air missile; Nag, third-generation anti-tank missile; and Akash, medium-range surface-to-air missile. Cruise missile. They have a tree-line trajectory, self-propelled, moves in straight line. That is about cruise missile. Not detected by radar. So cruise missiles are not detected by radar, have high precision. BrahMos missile, indigenously developed by DRDO with the help of Russia. An example of cruise missile with supersonic speed, can be launched from air, land, and sea. Range, before joining MTC at 2090 kilometers, now increased to 450 to 600 kilometers. Featured with Ramjet engine. The difference between ramjet and scramjet should be known. Air breathing without air compression, supersonic Mach. Scramjet, compressed plus combustion and supersonic speed, hypersonic more than 5 Mach, efficient at high speed. Hypersonic missiles have speed more than 5 Mach. Russia has two hypersonic missiles, Kinzhal ballistic hypersonic and a Vanguard cruise. China has Dongfang ballistic missile. India's subsonic is Nirbhay. Missile Technology Control Regime. To avoid the proliferation of missile technology, 35 countries are part of it. UAV comes under the MTCR. Decision is consensus based. Australia Group. Regulation of the biological and chemical weapons. Wassenaar Arrangement. Greater transparency and accountability in transfer of dual use of tech. Wassenaar Arrangement. So, greater transparency and accountability in the transfer of dual use of technology is about Wassenaar arrangement. Okay, India is part of all the three groups mentioned: nuclear suppliers group, multilateral export control regime, and group of nuclear supplier countries that seek to prevent nuclear proliferation by controlling the export of materials, equipment, and technology that can be used to manufacture the nuclear weapon. Formed after the Pokhran tests, also referred as London Group, regulates export of nuclear technology and fuel. India doesn't have any access to NSG. Rudram 1. Rudram 1 is an anti-radiation missile that can locate and target any radiation emitting source. These are designed to detect, track, and neutralize the adversary's radar, communication assets, and other radio frequency sources, which are generally part of their air defense systems. So, Rudram 7. Rudram 1 is an anti-radiation missile that can locate and target any radiation emitting source. These are designed to detect, track, and neutralize the adversary's radar, communication assets, and other radio frequency sources, which are generally part of their air defense systems. It is an air-to-surface missile with a strike range of around 100 to 150 kilometers. It has been developed indigenously by the Defense Research and Development Organization (DRDO). It is the first indigenous anti-radiation missile of India, that is Rudram 1. GSAT-7, launched in 2008, also called as Rukmini, first defense communication satellite for Navy. GSAT-7A, launched in 2018, communication satellite for Indian Air Force and Army. GSAT-7C for Indian Air Force, upcoming in 2 to 3 years, procurement by Defense Acquisition Council. The Defense Acquisition Council is headed by the Defense Minister. The DAC is responsible to give policy guidelines to acquisitions based on long-term procurement plans. It also clears all acquisitions which include both imported and those produced indigenously or under a foreign license. It was formed after the group of ministers' recommendations on reforming the national security system in 2001 post Kargil War 1999. Standoff anti-tank missile. It is an air-to-surface missile. The missile is equipped with state-of-art millimeter wave seeker. It provides high-precision strike capability from a safe distance. The weapon can attack targets up to 10-kilometer range. Missile was designed by DRDO. It is an armor-guided missile. It has both lock-on before launch and lock-on after launch capabilities. Akash NG missile, medium range mobile surface to air missile defense system developed by DRDO, used to intercept high maneuvering, low radar, cross section aerial threats. Range. The missile system has a range close to 60 km and can travel at 2.5 times the speed of sound. Developed by Defense Research and Development Laboratory DRDL, Hyderabad, in collaboration with the other DRDO laboratories. Genome India project by Ministry of Science and Technology, collaboration of 20 institutes including the IIs and IITs, aims to build a grid of Indian reference genome to fully understand the type and nature of the diseases and traits that comprise the diverse Indian population inspired by the Human Genome Project. The IndiGen project, mapping genome of 1008 Indians by Center for Cell and Molecular Biology under CSIR and Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology IGIB Hyderabad. Purple Revolution. Or Lavender Revolution was launched by the Union Ministry of Science and Technology through CSIR under Aroma Mission, aim to increase the lavender cultivation in Jammu and Kashmir and support India's aromatic crop-based agroeconomy by reducing imports of aromatic oils and increasing the homegrown varieties. The Aroma Mission was launched by CSIR. The aim of the Aroma Mission is to bring transformative change in the aroma sector through desired interventions in the areas of agriculture, processing, and product deployment for fueling the growth of aroma industry and rural employment. Aromatic plants are a special kind of plants used for their aroma and flavor. Many of them are also used for medicinal purposes such as rosemary, lavender, lemongrass, among others. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. The Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) is the largest research and development organization in India, established in September 1942, located in New Delhi. CSIR is funded by the Ministry of Science and Technology and it operates as an autonomous body through the Societies Registration Act 1860. CSIR covers a wide spectrum of streams and provides significant technological intervention in many areas with regard to societal efforts, which include the environment, health, drinking water, food, housing, energy, farm, and non-farm sectors. The head of CSIR is the Prime Minister. MicroRNA, short non-coding RNAs, extrachromosomal, attack COVID virus affecting its genetic material and reducing its severity. Increased microRNAs in tongue cancer acts as a biomarker, so biological component suggesting underlying disease. Messenger RNA vaccine. Segment of RNA from virus is injected into a cell to stimulate response. Cell produces antigen from the mRNA leading to immunity. Generate the cellular immunity. Advantages of using the mRNA based vaccines are mRNA vaccines are considered safe as mRNA is non-infectious, non-integrating in nature and degraded standard cellular mechanism. They are highly efficacious because of their inherent capability of being translatable into the protein structure inside the cell cytoplasm. Additionally, mRNA vaccines are fully synthetic and do not require a host for growth, example X or bacteria. Therefore, they can quickly be manufactured inexpensively to ensure their availability and accessibility for mass vaccination on a sustainable basis. RNA interference, gene silencing technology that targets protein synthesis in target cell using double-stranded RNA used against the HIV and to control cholesterol. eDNA, also called as environmental DNA, refers to DNA that can be extracted from environmental samples such as water, soil, or feces without first isolating any target organisms. It is nuclear or mitochondrial DNA that is released from an organism into the environment. Every eukaryotic cell usually has two copies of nuclear DNA and hundreds or thousands of copies of mitochondrial DNA. This large number of mitochondrial DNA copies allows optimizing the detection of species from environmental samples, helps in tracking animal population census, helpful for terrestrial animals. Recombinant DNA technology, joining together DNA molecules of different species done by gene editing. Gene editing, type of genetic engineering in which DNA is inserted, deleted, or modified, or replaced in the genome of living organisms. Gene editing techniques are 1. Meganucleases, 2. Zinc finger nucleases, ZFN, 3. Talents, transcription actuator like effector nucleases, CRISPR-Cas9, fourth one, and the fifth one is jumping gene editing tool. Let's see about the blood. These are almost very expected and known factors. So nothing to address here.